Oh, welcome back to the CCL. My name is McCormiel. With me is Spider Tiff. And, well, we saw in the last match, it was a 3-1 win for the Mavericks. They showed they're vulnerable, losing the first map all season long. We now shift our focus to the second matchup here on the Bravo stream tonight. It's California State University San Bernardino going up against University of California Riverside. And this matchup looks to be promising. But, Tiff, there's a little bit more on the line than anything else for one of these teams in particular. That's UCR.
UCR, it is indeed, and I am so excited to see how this is going to turn out. I know that we usually kick things off with a little bit of bocage, so the map lineup, which we'll get to later, is going to be a little interesting, so I'm excited. UCR right now, this is going to be a make or break lineup of games, and they really need to take this victory if they would like to make the top 3 of stage 1.
Yeah, and so the thing is, right, you know, UCR, you come into this matchup, you have the same record as CSUS, but the biggest problem there is that CSUS, they've already lost both games to the top 2 teams inside of their division, which means that they will not be able to make top 3 even if one of those teams were to lose and they were to win. For UCR, it's a different story because they, a little bit earlier on in the season, I actually believe it was week number 1, they were able to take down the opposition that now sits in the 3rd place spot. So if they were to fall and UCR were to win, well, then they're top 3. It's that simple, but it's going to take a lot more than just a little bit of hope and a little bit of luck from UCR because the team that they're hoping that is going to lose, unfortunately, is still a very talented roster. And if you're wondering who that is, well, unfortunately, that is going to be CSUN. So CSUN, they have an easy matchup. That's the biggest problem. That's the roadblock ahead of them. They'll look to break on through that. For California State University San Bernardino, though, it's really not much to play for except ruining UCR and then forcing them to be inside of your division yet again.
McCormill, the way you say that, you're like, you know, they don't really have anything to play for except for ruining the hopes and dreams of UCR. Because that didn't sound morbid at all. And, you know, it's just been one of those days where we've just been chatting about things in general. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds like a little bit of heartbreak here. And I know last week when I cast on Valentine's Day, there was a bunch of heartbreak, but I didn't think that it was going to carry on to this week. So as a person who likes to root for underdogs, I'm going to go with UCR taking this because I want them to have a shot at getting that top 3. So let's go ahead and look at this amazing head-to-head lineup. We've got CSUSB Esports versus UCR Esports. And look at this matchup. You're right, 7-3 for both of them. But let's break it down a little bit because here's where things get a little bit interesting. You've got CSUSB with the 4-1 control. So I think control is really going to shape things up here. I think if you can play your first 2 games, given that the hard points are not necessarily equal, but they're pretty close. Search and destroy, obviously, the Coyotes are looking a little bit stronger, and they're looking a little bit stronger in control. So I think I'm really looking at that first hard point that we're going to see, which is going to be a Berlin hard point. And I'm excited to see how that kicks off. I feel like the momentum could kind of make them dash into ruining UCR's hopes.
Oh, sure, and the thing is, you know, the eyesore for the Hilltoppers is that 4-5 record in Search and Destroy, and that's kind of, you know, at least where you want to draw your attention to a little bit later on once we do eventually get into that second map. But again, Hardpoint's going to be that staple, that exclamation mark that you can put on the series early, specifically if you are UCR. With that 10-6 record, obviously you've played a little bit more Hardpoint than your opposition, but at the same time, the Coyotes, you know, they're not strangers to being able to have to take strong games against top opponents like UCS, like a couple of the other schools that they've already played up against earlier on in the season. Again, teams that UCR has also lost against, but again, they took hard points off those schools. And again, I do think, to your point, that control is really going to be a make or break specifically for UCR, simply because the Coyotes have looked so good in that mode, but you know, that's really neither here nor there. We'll take a look at the side of CSUSB, their esports roster. Unknown, Idoi, Samzu, and Danny. You know, it's a weird kind of combination of players here, but some of these players have been standouts specifically throughout the early portion of this season. We'll hope to look for them not only to step up inside of the series, but of course to continuously put their best foot forward as they go into stage 2, looking in that 4th to 6th place spot for their next division.
I completely agree when you were saying how they looked strong. I was looking at some of the results last week against the Gaming Gators, and you've got Idoi, who was looking insane in that Search and Destroy. He took 11-3 and was aggressive with snagging all the first bloods. And when I say all the first bloods, that's 3, but it was more than every other person on the team. Another player that I want to shout out is Zamasu, looking absolutely insane last week on Tuscan Control. So that alone right there just shows to me that if you're going to be that aggressive on control, we know they were 4-1 coming into this season. They're aggressive. They are ready. That means they're thriving on the offensive, which honestly, when we talk about the map lineup, that's going to come back and be a very critical portion because we're going to see Kavutu. I know, it's like a little secret insight, like shh, a little head sight into what's happening. But here we go. We got that UCR Esports lineup at University of California, Riverside. We got Sorry, Speedy, a flying hat, and Beaver. And when I look at this, McCormiel, a flying hat, like where is it flying to? Hopefully to victory.
You'd certainly hope so, at least to the top of the forehead at the very least. And, you know, where else besides the CCL are you going to get incredible names such as a flying hat or Beaver? Sorry. I mean, again, it's just kind of that commonplace thing to where, you know, you see collegiate esports and a lot of people want to take them seriously. And, you know, of course, a flying hat is going to be that one standout player that I'm at least looking forward to, because if you have a name like that, obviously you kind of got to back it up with something, and if you can't do that, well, then you are probably just going to be clowned upon, but, you know, at least I'll have a loving embrace for you as we go further on in the series. Either way, we've got to look at our rosters, we got to look at everything inside of the series thus far. Next up, we'll take a look at our entire map set overall. And realistically speaking, as you kind of alluded to beforehand, we'll go to Berlin for map 1. Search and Destroy in map 2 will be on Berlin yet again, so we'll get a double dose there. Gavutsu in the middle. It's basically a Gavutsu sandwich with Bakaj at the end for a double dosage if we need to get there. So, as 4 and 5 are set there towards the end, we'll take our attention back to map number 1 for Berlin. And again, we kind of talked at least top of show, UCR, a better hardpoint record overall. Either of these teams, though, can put their best foot forward when it comes to this mode and, of course, this map as well. My biggest question, of course, though, is going to be, is UCR really going to be able to not only step up to the challenge that they have in front of them, but at least be able to take a swing map in the first hard point, specifically TIFF, because again, this is a series that they need to win. But I feel like if California State, San Bernardino is able to get that upper hand advantage, you take that 2-0 lead going into a control, or even a 1-0 lead, especially with how good your search and destroy has been comparatively to UCR, it seems like this series almost is a lost cause.
I completely feel that. I'm not gonna lie, because I look at this and usually you get Bokaj hardpoint off the map, and usually it can go one of 3 ways. You've got your flex player, you throw out the 3 SMGs, but with Berlin, I feel like they have a better chance to play a better game, if that makes sense, because this is going to be true rotations, true everything. So if UCR has practiced Berlin and you're getting that double dose, but you really don't want to lose this hard point, because just like you said, going in with them, with UCR already being a little weaker in the search and destroy side, if CSUSB kind of just takes map 1, map 2, and then you go into control on Gavutsu, that's not where you want to make your reverse sweep start. To be fair, Gavutsu is not the map that you really want to start on that, because control in general there is so chaotic. And luckily, I mean, if you were watching the Bravo stream at all, you got a little bit of tidbits when you saw the Mavericks play Gavutsu and how crazy it was when they got that first offensive win on the attacking side, because getting that B area, which we'll chat about later, that is just not where you want to start your reverse sweep. But luckily here, we are going to go in to that Berlin hard point where we've got so many great little aspects here. I'm looking for the players, specifically your ARs, to be able to hold the lines of sight starting at, 1. We want to make sure you're getting the rotations in earlier, you're getting the mid-map fights, and to be fair, UCR, start this off strong.
Berlin, a fun map. One of those maps that's very rotational heavy overall. If you are new to the CCL, welcome. Congratulations, you found your way here. This is the Bravo stream, though. We have 2 streams going on the Alpha stream right now, or aka twitch.tv/college COD. The matchup between the Oregon Ducks and the side of the University of New Mexico are facing off against one another. Katie and Proper will be taking you through the action there. You can go ahead and pop those both up, open on streams here on PC. If you're on your phone, well, stick around, stay here. UCR, CSUS. Got ourselves a little Berlin hardpoint to start things off here. First 15 seconds off the clock. It's going to be a bloodbath in towards the hill. Samzu's going to be there trying to find the first kill. We'll find one, but it's good enough for a 2-3 trade on the opposition. It's going to be the side of UCR who get inside the hill first.
Getting into the hill first, they will, but this is a great little jump over here into office as Speedy Smacks finds a nice long shot kill before he falls. I'm kind of looking, because when you see Bokaj, it's a little bit of touch and go on that first hill, but when you look at Berlin, you got to see who's going to get the majority of the time on the first hill, and I'm already going to be thinking about who's going for those rotations. You have 15 seconds left, and look at the top of the map. UCR has already begun that massive rotation. Wow, you've got, player Zamasu on the first P1 trying to get the scrap time, but the rotation battles are coming in right now.
Zamzu going to be rotating from across the map. You see a couple of players from UCR making their way on in. They put their best foot forward, at least for the beginning. They break on into the library. Nade out around the side. Sorry, I'll be looking for the first challenge here as the Coyotes look to break on in. It's going to be another couple of kills that go to the way side of the UCR roster. Flying Hat looks down below. Unknown will wrap all the way up and towards the top. You'll look for the shots onto one. You'll pepper one up. It's still a pinstripe kill feed that allows UCR to stay in towards the front of the hill. You turn back around, the contestion's still there. Everyone's still trying to contest. It's still 30 seconds, a good time here, so you'll start thinking about rotations. Right now, though, if you are the Coyotes, you're a little bit happier because you have that left side of the map held down pretty much in your soul.
Held down indeed. The Coyotes came in and made P2 their absolute dominant area. With 16 seconds left here on the point, they're about to tie it up. I love that you've got player number one trying to solidify spawns, but you got to think, you're talking about those rotations. Look at the rotation battle that's already happening right now with UCR having the spawns over by the lobby. The question is, who's going to get there first? Who's going to solidify it? And how are they going to make it? With 4 players over there already from UCR, the issue is, how can the Coyotes counteract this, and can they get in there? With the score is so close right now. They were just on the rotations in general. I feel like I want to see a rhythm kind of start to handle here as we see Zamzu on 3 streaks looking to get a glide bomb.
Danny out towards the front, trying to find the 3rd in a row. 2 straight streaks. I guess a conversation point that we need to kind of hit on at least real quick is last week instead of the CCL, the one thing that you saw was 5 straight kills would get you a glide bomb. Now things have changed a little bit because it's going to be the strafing run that comes in at 5 in a row, and then the glide bomb will now be earned at 7, like akin to what you would see inside of the CDL. So finally, the rule sets are completely the same, not only inside of the amateur level Call of Duty play in the Pro League, and that is what we have now. So it might catch you guys off guard a little bit. You might say, oh, 5 in a row, that's going to be a glide bomb. No longer the situation. We'll have the rotation here over towards the next hard point, but P4 is held down. You'll see Danny trying to make a sneaky little play all the way through the back, but a Flying Hat's going to sniff that out oh so quickly. Beaver and Sorry try to turn back around as the first 10 seconds tick off the clock. The Coyotes still have yet to break on it.
Still have yet to break on it. Indeed, they are holding it down like a fortress over there, trying to claw back towards the Coyotes' points. Luckily, this is still a very close game here on the first set of rotations as we are over at the train yard. Danny popping off, trying to hold it down. UCR kind of ganging up, and all 3 of them pushing to make it, but they're just getting picked off by Idoy right now. That is really tough. But I want to talk about Zamzu. I want to talk about him. 10-3 right now, 11-3 as we speak. Absolutely doing everything that he needs to do and fragging out to allow his teammates to get as much time on the hill as possible here during this. 15 seconds left, so what I'm looking for is that rotation over to the destroyed hall, which is, we've talked about this early before the match started. P5 is definitely one of my favorite hills. I'm always curious how you're going to hold that very contentious spot. A lot of chaos as Danny falls right there.
Chaos, the word to hit on there, as she alluded to there. Tiff is one person in particular that I can hit on that absolutely loves to see everything go wrong for a team, but everything go right for another, and then have that exact same storyline flip vice versa around the very next push from a different team. And Tiff, I mean, at least it's a testament right now as Danny will pop for 3 in a row. Edoy is also on 3 too, but finally, Sorry and Beaver will come back with a few trades. But as I was going to say, for UCR, it hasn't really been the story of not being able to keep up in the slaying department, at least early on inside of the game. It's just when they get out and rotate early, they either lose it quickly, or at the same time, it's just not being able to break in towards a point.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a really big deal that we need to talk about, because just because you can land the rotations doesn't mean that you can actually hold the hill. You need to be able to get in there and lock it down and not just go for scraps, because scraps are, maybe you'll add up to getting 5 to 10 each hill. Over a rotation, you're looking at 50 to 60 points, but right now that's not going to net you a win, with the Coyotes taking 60 points already as we begin the second set of rotations. So if they're up 60 and they continue this on, they're going to net themselves the victory here. So they really need, if you're UCR and you want to kick this off strong like we were discussing in the pre-map setup, you need to kick it up to gear here now. This is the rotation that you need to make that strong. And as UCR grabs a hold of this hill right now, with the Coyotes trying to break in from the top side, while reinforcements and Sorry and a Flying Hat are coming back in. I'm looking at you, a Flying Hat. While you do have a lot of objective time, we need to make sure that we're getting those critical kills from your teammates to solidify the fact that you can hold it down as the break comes in from the Coyotes.
Clean kill feed for the Coyotes. 20 seconds left on the hill. We'll start looking towards the rotation back over towards Library. The last time it was UCR who got a good amount of time. This time, though, Edoy will be looking around. Sees the door close just a bit. You're up to rotate out and over towards the right side. Player on the staircase, Danny, who's been popping 2 and 3 pieces back and forth across the map. 23 and 12 at the moment. 2 in a row for Unknown. Edoy will fall there towards the point. Speedy Smacks will find 2 quick kills. Up the staircase, you try to slide around the side. Unknown actually plays the life perfectly here. Gonna play this a bit more passive, waiting for the rest of the team to fly back around. You drop down from above. The reinforcements have arrived. You jump right back on into the hill. Everybody is there. Trades back and forth galore. Sorry's gonna be able to pop for 2. UCR will stay on the hill.
Staying on the hill indeed, as UCR is finding some nice kills right there. 35 seconds left here in the mailroom, but will it be enough? Look, you got 60 points down. They were 60 points down the P1 in the second set of rotation, so you really need to kick it into gear here as the Coyotes overtake. And that's the thing, as you have all of these trades going on, they're just not able to solidify their hold inside of the hills. The Coyotes always find a way to create that contention and just overtake UCR. So what you need to do right now is to deny the Slayers. And when I'm looking at the Slayers of the Coyotes, I'm looking at Danny, I'm looking at Edoy. You need to cut them down. And that sounds horrific, right, if you're UCR? Because that's a big feat as Beaver finds too. But get in there, hold it down, create that fortress, because this is about to be a 100-point game. And if you're UCR, this is probably your last hill, and you need to hold it perfectly, or else it's all going downhill from here.
Already a problem, though. You see the Coyotes. They've already rotated over towards the left side of the map. They've gotten top control, and now this is going to give them the spawns at the exact same time. So the nade around the corner should be able to check one. The player will slide around the corner. Zemizu looks for Sorry to the left, to the right. And guess what? It's Edoy. Big's quick work of everything. 2 minutes, by the way, for Zemizu overall. And counting as they eclipse that 200-point mark. They're up by about 80 points right now. And for UCR, the answer has just been non-existent. You've gotten scrap time here and there. It looks a lot closer than it really has been across the board. And I guess that's kind of the story that I'm going to run with here. A hardpoint game can always be close. But the problem is, if you're really not getting much time, or there hasn't really been a big moment that I can say, hey, that was really good for you guys, it's just going to seem like it was a complete blowout.
Yeah, it's looking like that complete blowout, because every time I get hope that they've had that rotation early, it just gets broken in by the Coyotes. Because here's the deal, guys, the Coyote, when you've got one of them, if you guys know anything about like the worldwide animals and how everything works in the real world, one Coyote, not that scary, but a pack of them coming in at you, terrifying. And I feel like that's exactly what the Coyotes are doing to UCR Esports right now. They are just coming in like a pack and just overtaking everything. They're 30 points away from netting this victory here, and UCR is doing everything that it can to hold this hill perfectly. But just look at the contention on the map. They're kind of like spread out and almost getting surrounding. As UCR picks off 2, the trade comes in and a flying hat will die. But here's the deal. You're still holding it. You're still clawing back, but is it going to be enough? Speedy Smacks on that 5 killing spree before he will be cut down. So no, this is actually hilarious. I haven't seen anyone get streaks yet.
No streaks to speak of, but Sorry with 1 more kill could be in store for UCR. The rest of the squad to be able to push forward on the rest of the map. You've got P5 locked down. You're starting to push up to the different angles. Danny, Edoy, Zamazu, going to be able to go ahead and find a couple. But more importantly, it's another 4 down here for the Coyotes. The last 25 seconds is all they need to be able to go ahead and take this map. Unfortunately, they were looking the wrong way for the spawns, though. Flying Hat will stay alive. Pistol around the corner. Speedy Snacks will slide around. 3-1 trade, now 2-3 is a sign to the Coyotes have bounced back on in. Unknown will pair for 2. UCR will try to break back in 1 more time. Still plenty enough here for the side of the Coyotes to be able to win. Maybe you have 1 more push here if you're UCR.
If you are UCR and Sorry trying to get in there to make something happen, it's just not going to work, and they're going to spawn so far away. So a lot of uncontested time here for the Coyotes. McCormick, I think this is it.
4 seconds left. Break on in. Flying Hat's going to be there for the roster. 4 down, though. So you'll live to see another hill. At least you'd hope so. In the corner, though, Danny's going to be here. The first one in. Gets 2. Almost was able to find the 3rd. Beaver on the staircase is going to be able to find 1, but the trade's instantaneous. You're inside of the point. Nobody going to be able to break on in. You just hold the glitches, hold the lanes down. The Coyotes, they'll take a very important map number 1, going into a search and destroy where, unfortunately, UCR hasn't looked great all season long.
If you're at UCR, you need to kick it into gear on that search and destroy, as we get a nice little look of Edoy right here with that automaton just holding down a really nice angle there in the window to solidify that. With that kill, it pretty much sealed the deal here on Berlin for the hard point with a 250-183. Coyotes up 1. Let's go. That was really well done, McCormick. If you're the Coyotes, you've got to be feeling really good about that performance.
Sure.
I mean, especially if you're Danny. especially if you're Danny. And I know we were talking about a flying hat on UCR Esports, and we wanted to see him fly around the map, but unfortunately it didn't look like that was the deal there. But netted himself a lot of hill time for his team. But here's the deal, you gotta be aggressive. All the kills that you get, you gotta make sure they're ones that when you make the break and you hold them, you fight off the offensive as they come in, and just unfortunately it never came through for UCR. Although they were able to claw themselves back, it was still a 70-point game.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like a passive play from UCR a lot throughout the entirety of map number 1 there. There were some shining moments. I kind of highlighted at one point where I was like, UCR hasn't really given me much to write home about. And then towards the end of the game, it was a couple 4-down feeds. It was some nice team pushes, some great pinches, especially over on P5 when they were able to break back in for that final time. But then if you're the Coyotes, you've already gotten out and rotated over towards P1 for a third set of hills, and you're just able to contest for those last 4 seconds and be able to take map number 1. So overall, it was a Coyotes map that really, at least wrote a story for me about how this rest of the series could go. But if you are UCR, again, at the very end of the call that I had on the hardpoint there, I really meant this. UCR has not looked good in hardpoint this season thus far. It's been statistically their worst mode overall, comparatively. The only one that you can kind of go up against is maybe their control. But if you are the side of UCR, you really wanted to take map number 1 just so you don't have the ability or even that confusion of saying, hey, we're down 0-2 right now. What's the move here going into a control where CSUSB is 4-1 and we're stuck at a 2-2 record? Again, records don't mean everything, and you can't always just strictly go by statistics because you don't know exactly strength of the team in those wins and, of course, those losses at the same time. But for UCR, this is a series that if you win, and maybe CSUN loses their series a little bit later on as well, you could very easily find yourself inside of the top 3 overall going into the next stage. Remember, this is the last game that they have before stage 2. You're going to be stuck wherever you win or lose. You're going to be stuck in your division for the next part of the stage and up until playoffs.
And I love that you bring that up because there's something I really want to touch on, and it could be like maybe the mental side of things. There's things that I want to look at when you're playing on as a team. You have your communication, right? And we watched the Coyotes. It was like they were very well coordinated and the communication was there. When they came in for the breaks, they were very well coordinated. They attacked all at the same time. And it just seemed like they were playing the better game on that Berlin hardpoint. When it comes to UCR, it's like, okay, do you know personally that if they win this game and CSUN loses, that potentially puts them in the top 3 where they're going to be battling it out in stage 2 against other top 3 teams in the other divisions? Like, is that mentally weighing on you? And if it is, that's one of those moments where it's like you just step back and remember, play your game. Play your game, get into the zone, try not to think about like what ifs and what's to come. It's like it's you, that Berlin search and destroy that's coming up next, and you've just got to focus. All right, go to A, go to B, get my kills, and just take that. You got to get to 6, obviously, but just get there and take it map by map, round by round, and just slow it down a little bit.
You mentioned Berlin for the search and destroy. We're not going to have to go far from map number 1. Quickly getting into the S&D action here, though. Map 2. Again, the Coyotes have a 1-0 lead inside of the series. Bomb working its way over towards the B site. Flying hat towards the back building. Got a couple of players getting aggressive, though. Sorry, actually won't go ahead and challenge Edoy around the corner, and that's going to be big because that allows at least the first blood to come off the board. So what shouldn't have been a blood at all leads to a 3 versus 3 with yet to be 30 seconds ticked off the clock.
Love that Edoy was really consistent there with the first blood, just like he was last week. So that's always really good to see that you're playing consistent, although you will get picked off early on as Beaver finds a nice kill on Danny, leaving us in a 3v2 situations with UCR trying to get the bomb down on B right now. But look at Zamazu, just so close. It's almost like a shark in the water right now. Looking, grabs a flying hat. Now, trades coming in, will fall.
You just hope that you could get back around that corner, maybe try to challenge for that second kill, allow things to open up a lot more on the map. It would have been a 2 versus 1 on the retake. Now it's just a 1 versus 2. Sorry, sitting inside the bomb site. A little weird here because Unknown's playing in a position where this would typically be the clutch area for the side of UCR, but instead they play a bit different. Actually doesn't spot the feed out. Will slide in from behind. Now just has to go to the site. Still very doable. 13 seconds left. Stun around the corner. Going to be able to check for it. Oh, lined up the head. Unfortunately, wasn't able to find the kill. Would have had plenty of time with the defuse to go on through with it. But a 1-0 lead there and a great offensive round for the side of UCR will net them at least a lead here early on in the search and destroy.
Sorry is not sorry right now for jumping onto the lead with a nice 3-0 to kick it off with. We were talking about how UCR was not the strongest in Search and Destroy, but maybe they heard us. Maybe they're trying to come back with a vengeance and just really kick it off strong. Or maybe they're just like, hey, I didn't really like how I played that last game on, Berlin Hardpoint. Let's kick it off strong. Sorry, going in right now. I love the split that they're taking. You've got Zamazu and Danny on the attacking side. They're both up on the top side of the map, while you've got Edoy and Unknown just kind of lurking mid-map while they're looking for the rotations. I love where Edoy has himself planted over on the rail yard and south side of the warehouse, but I feel like the contention is happening. Edoy grabbing first blood, very consistent with last week. I love to see it.
Oh, Unknown, you got to win that gunfight there, but the MP40 up close should win that 9 times out of 10. Zamazu will be able to pick up a trade there on the Flying Hat. So it's still a 3 versus 2 here. Offensive side has the advantage once again. However, as I said beforehand, usually you don't see the map flip completely around where the side of defense is now pushing from the offensive side. The 2 versus 3. You got 25 seconds to make it work back over towards the bomb. Long-range shots from Beaver going to be there, but unfortunately has to back off with the life. Around the corner, Zamazu is just waiting there. It's going to be a very hard break across. You're going to be able to pick up the first. The second one challenges around the corner. Zamazu, beautiful shots, more importantly, around win there to the side of the Coyotes. We're tied 1-1 here, offense for offense in the first 2 rounds.
I love the call out. You can clearly see that Beaver got word that Zamazu was right there lurking and tried to contest it, but unfortunately was not going to get that. You'd pretty much just jump right into the line of sight and he just cuts you down. I love that little nook right there, but I feel like once you take that positioning, there's almost really not that much counteracting if you're in that building. So they should have essentially exited the building on the south side, rotated around a little bit and kind of tried to peek out and get a decent angle in there, but it's such a nook that is so great to get, but that will cut down Sorry's streak right now, 3-1, and any chance of trying to get to that strafing run that I believe is at 6 now. So
Yep.
That's a very interesting thing. I don't think we may not see streaks today. I'm looking at Zamasu, but I'm just not sure if anyone's going to be able to get there.
Maybe not inside of the search and destroy, but surely in a respawn, we'll probably see at least one.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed as we are looking for bomb to go down on A right now. Sorry, just sending it. Bomb is down and the contention is in. A Flying Hat will grab first blood on Unknown, and they're setting up I love the setup that they're doing, but they're not really watching the left side. But as I say that, Flying Hat right now, Beaver finds a nice shot on Danny.
Big trade there from Edoy. You get the second one as well. So now it's a 2 versus 2. You can work your way back over towards the site. Sorry, though. And towards the A-bomb, we'll be able to find shots, and more importantly, the kill on the Zamazu. Edoy trying to go ahead and find for the ace. There's the second one. You got to look for the final player who's all the way across the map. Right now, you're just trying to clutch up. Edoy trying to spot from across the map. You got to get the defuse as well. 9 seconds left. The shot and the kill has to come in. You might be able to go for the kill here. Extend the streak to 5 in a row. Speedy Smack still around the corner. Should get some shots from the back of the Amaton. Oh, Edoy almost gets the turnaround. More importantly, though, again, it's just another clean offensive round. You play the time perfectly all the way down to the end. In UCR, you take another crucial and important round.
How do you feel about that, McCormiel? With Edoy kind of just running around back and forth, I feel like they should have played their life right there and maybe just backed off. Once they saw the time get lower, you're like, hey, I'm sitting at 3 or 4 right now, potentially could have streaks. But the thing is, the glide bomb in Search and Destroy provides that information, and you've got to get to 7 to get it. So it's a lot more tough to get there. And at that point, I just feel like time was on their side. They should have just left that alone and played their life.
See, I agree. I just think the thing is you don't know where Speedy is. So you're just trying to play around the site, just looking for them if they're going to be able to, if they're going to fly in and check the bomb. And maybe you pick up that 5th kill by catching the opponent off guard. Unfortunately, they're just the one that gets caught off guard there. So you lose your 4 streak. Zamazu, though, will be able to find the 2nd in the round. So that's 2 in a row still here for the Coyotes. Sorry, we'll trade things out. Oh, actually goes for a big double. Danny, you can't lose that gunfight, but you do anyways. In the B site, doors are closed. Now it's a 1 versus 2 here. Sorry's trying to do it himself this time, just like Zamazu last round. Now it's going to be Sorry around the corner. You look for the last one. Unfortunate timing. Gets cut down. Again, we've only had offensive round wins thus far here on Berlin in the S&D, but we handshake 2 rounds back and forth yet again.
I don't know what it is about these Coyotes that are nestling themselves in corners, but Sorry had the right idea. Sorry was going to check that corner, but just was out there looking around the building as opposed to those sandbags. Like, it was so close, had the right idea, just did not execute it properly, and The Coyotes right there, waiting, lurking underneath. That is like actually really creepy. I feel like these Coyotes are playing just like IRL Coyotes, and I say that as if I have any idea how Coyotes legitimately are, because I've never even seen one.
Yeah, I wonder how Coyotes play Call of Duty.
You know, I don't know how good they would really be IRL, as Beaver goes ahead and finds that nice first blood against the Coyotes, and the Danny will fall. Bomb is going to rotate towards mid-map. UCR kind of sticking together as the Coyotes are all spread out, holding very nice angles. But the question is, 59 seconds left on the clock, plenty of time, play it safe. A flying hat's going to take a really nice long rotation through the warehouse in the back. But player 5, that's Edoy, has got that automaton. Will they come around and make this happen? And Edoy will get a flying hat. That's going to be bombed down back there. They're going to have to answer back.
Unfortunate, too, because I don't think Sari actually knows that Edoy escapes into the bomb site. So, yet again, we talk about another double for a player. Defensive side almost had a great position for a round win. Unfortunately, though, it rests now on the hands of Unknown, who actually spots the bomb getting picked up. The door's in the way, though. Got to sneak around the corner. You're just trying to find Bieber, who's planting it. You're going to be able to get the shots. Bomb doesn't go down, so you now know where that bomb is, and you also know where that second player most likely will be. Stuns, nades in towards the site. Not going to be able to check it. Bomb will go down, so Speedy Smacks is now found out around to the right side. Starting to make the push up. Speedy will back off. Unknown starting to make the push in. 1 versus 1. Oh, he singled him out in the corner. Speedy doesn't know this. Gonna peek around, but oh, he gets caught running at the worst time possible. And yet again, the offensive team takes a round on Berlin.
I'm actually really shocked right there. That was an interesting game of cat and mouse, and I thought Speedy was going to lay it down and escape through the back of the building and play for, like, the defuse. But when he, like, kind of came around to the left side of the building and took a couple shots off on that Coyotes player, I'm like, dude, you're just asking for it right now. Dude's got an automaton, and he's just waiting to unleash it on you. Just, like, be a little careful. But you know what? Sometimes in Call of Duty, you gotta go for the ego chow, and I feel like that's exactly what UCR just did there, and it paid off in a plethora. But you're right, only offensive round wins. Maybe the defensive player of the US or UCR can take that down here, and can we see Bomb right now going towards B? Danny, can they get it down? Starting to plant right now. You got Zamazu up on the back end, looking to kind of play it safe as Unknown finds first blood on Speedy.
No adjustments. It's been B hit after B hit, except for, you know, that one A hit that UCR had a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we were chatting about this earlier. I'm like, it's always A. It's always A. And then you rotate over to B if you really have to, or if you find some contention in A. But this is interesting. I'm loving the B hits, though.
See, this is nice because you have the entirety of the back spawn now, and you let them rotate through without going heading for the contention. Zamazu, though, I mean, they just sprint directly at him. I mean, you got to have some. If you're gonna go through there and you're gonna double challenge around the back, you got to hit that together. You can't just have one player go and hit it. The whole point of sending 2 players to the back is to be able to pick up a trade and then bait and switch out while pushing through the doorway simultaneously.
Well, there was no bait and switch, and there was no trades. It was just Zamazu over Zamazu, who is now 8-4, double positive, along with Edoy. I have a note from watching Zamazu, and there's like stats on Tuscan control, and that one word I have written down is aggressive. Aggressive, and that's exactly what we just saw there, was the aggression of Zamazu. And here we go, UCR sticking together, but you will notice that Speedy is playing that area by that back warehouse, looking for some lines of sight. Now is going to rotate over to kind of look on the other side of the building. They're still deciding. I'm waiting for the call out. It looks like the call, they're trying to decide, can we go A? You see Sari kind of going in, trying to get some information, and the bomb slowly starting to rotate around, but can Unknown get a good line of sight? Because he's looking for it as well. He wants to see if, are they rotating down towards A? Because now first blood's out, Speedy grabs Danny. Can they answer back?
See, this is kind of the first adjustment I've seen the offensive team make. You play a little bit more passive all the way towards the back of your spawn. Speedy allows Danny to push up a little bit more aggressively on defense. And I mean, that's kind of been the fault of the defenses. They're just pushing up way too fast every single round, getting picked off and caught off guard. However, though, Unknown all the way back, both can play at the passive game. This time, though, it's going to go to the Coyotes side of things. 30 seconds left. You still got to get the bomb down, but if you are the Coyotes, you know exactly where that bomb is. Sorry, we'll hop onto the site. Beaver now looking to push all the way in towards the back, and that's big, but you have to play it over towards A because there's not enough time to rotate towards B. Lucky for you, nobody's going to be able to peek you just yet. All the way over towards the back, the first player is going to come through. 45 seconds, though, as the bomb goes down.
Bomb is down, but look at Edoy, that positioning that he just had. And as I say that, Zamazu cuts down Beaver, but Edoy is in the area, just waiting for the offensive. The shots are coming in. Can Sari pull this off? No, Zamazu is going to go ahead and flank and get the kill. The defuse coming in. So this is what we see. The first defensive round win of this search and destroy, and that's going to go to the Coyotes. Well played.
It doesn't feel like it was an impossible situation there if you are UCR. It's just the biggest problem is once you lose that first gunfight, you put the player inside of the A site in such a bad position because they've already set up a pinch play for the Coyotes. All you have to do there is just execute upon that, like the side of UCR couldn't do when they were trying to flank all the way back around through the spawn the last time. So again, technical adjustments in there. It was a very passive offensive push to say at the very least, but credit to the Coyotes where credit is due. That nice pass of play nets you at least that first blood there to make it a 3 versus 2, and then of course now all the way over towards A. Dude, that pistol just needs to go. That pistol needs to go. The rat pistol is ridiculous.
It's not strong at all. What are you talking about? I didn't see any like 3 pump freaking kills right there. The TTK and Vanguard is already so quick as it is. So if you've got a pistol that you only need to put 2 or 3 bullets into someone and they're dead, this is just insane because it's so easy to shoot as Beaver finds a nice kill on Zamazu. It just jumped into the line of sight right there. This is looking really great for the Coyotes as they net that victory right there. That's going to bring them up into the lead, that 5-3. They just need one more round here in the search and destroy to take this to a 2-0 map lead.
The big problem, you can contend for the first 6 rounds of search and destroy. You can go 3-3, but if the second the team gets that defensive round, they start to get hot, and then you show that you haven't had any sort of adjustment and or difference making play on the defensive side for yourselves, you're going to allow the other team to start running away with the game. Now for the Coyotes on the defensive side, you're looking to put things away here on Berlin. You're looking to go 2 for 2 on Berlin as a whole for a hard point in a search and destroy. Edoy is going to read this perfectly. You already see 2 players in the bomb making its way over towards that B site. Nade over the top, isn't going to find anything just yet. Actually does hit one for a hit marker. You try to hop in on towards the doors. The first one's going to challenge around the corner, but a flying hat somehow, some way wins that gunfight. Speedy smacks for a second. Now it's a 4 versus 2 with the bomb down.
The fact that UCR are winning these 1v1s that I didn't think they were going to win on each other. I thought Edoy was going to get that kill as soon as they win, but look at Zamazu just going in and a flying hat's not going to survive, but bomb is down. Will they hop on the defuse? No, they're not. They're going to take some shots at each other. This is kind of interesting. So they've got plenty of time, right? He doesn't need to, but I'm looking at unknown right now. Okay, so the defuse is coming in. Will get cut down by Sorry. See, that's what I was curious about. Was unknown going to be able to push in? Because it's a 1v2 situation. And if you're Coyotes, you can afford to lose this one because you're still looking at match point, but you don't want to. And I love what happened. We saw how quickly UCR got the bomb down, and I just don't think there's going to be enough time. I think they're going to play their life right here, but...
See, that play right there, it needs to be better. And what I mean by that is if you're the Coyotes, you know that Zamasu is in the bomb site. You know that Unknown's making the flank back around. You know from where the bomb is planted that 9 times out of 10, the position that UCR will be set up in is going to be back on that train in the head glitch to where you can shoot through the door and go for the defuse. So right there, if you're Zamasu, what you need to say is, okay, I'm going to wait for Unknown to fully clean out that back, make sure they get that kill, then I go for the defuse, then we win the round off of that, because then you have the power position over in the back there. Nobody can flank you over towards that bomb site, and you get a free defuse. That was just a case of Zamasu getting way too aggressive, way too overzealous, and going for that bomb defuse. I do not like that play.
Well, I told you, one note I have for Zamazu is aggression. I've got that down as Sari is looking to get that kill on Unknown with the bomb. I love the bomb kills. They're my favorite thing in Search and Destroy. We just throw it for information, throw it for anything. You get the kill. Speedy follows it up with a kill on Zamazu. Gonna go ahead and cut him down. That's leaving 2 Coyotes left against the UCR Esports, and bomb is down. And look at the positioning that UCR has. Danny is sitting there right next to the bomb site. I love the flank that's coming in from Sari, but are they going to be able to get the kill on Danny right now as Edoy falls to Speedy Smacks? That leaves Danny all alone right now, and Danny will fall. You know what? Here's the deal. This is not good if you're the Coyotes right now because UCR just tied it up 5-5. I think the deciding factor was when UCR tried to do something different. When they played that attacking round super passive and Coyotes netted that win, immediately when UCR came back on the attacking side, we saw the difference. They went right back to the aggression. And as soon as they did that fast bomb site plan at B, it turned it back around. So it's like, hey, we were going to try something different. It didn't work out in our favor. We lost 2 rounds, but we're going to flip it back. And I feel like the Coyotes just not necessarily are falling apart, but you're right that overextending themselves, that aggression is really not paying out here. They kind of need to slow themselves back down and think of their actions. If Zamasu wouldn't have pushed in right there and gotten traded out, that would have been totally different. And now it's a 5-5 situation. We have a round 11 on Search and Destroy, and they're already over there. Look at freaking Bomb right now in the back of the warehouse, but the Coyotes are pushed so far up on B site.
4 versus 3. Coyotes starting to make their way up the map. 3 versus 3 now. Beaver will go ahead and equalize Unknown off the map. Edoy, though, had the first blood inside of the round. Speedy Smack still on 3. Streaks, unfortunately, won't be able to be earned, and if they are, well, unfortunately, it'll be the end of the game before they're able to be used. Still sitting in the middle of the map right now. Bomb still making its way over towards the A site. Right now, it's just a bluff play from UCR. The Coyotes, though, they pretty much read it as Zamasu once again getting aggressive back over towards the A site. You're just trying to make sure that Bomb can't go down.
Yeah, but they have 30 seconds left, and I feel like if Zamasu's going to overextend themselves, which, hey, they very well could do, but Speedy is just running around like Speedy Gonzalez. You just see him on the back of the map just running back and forth, and Bomb is making the next rotation back over to B.
They're
Is Danny ready for it? Danny is sitting there nestled in the corner. He hears it. He's literally going to grab a nice 2-piece to prevent that from happening. There's just really no time. The Coyotes are going to take this. That's going to put them 2-0 on this map series against UCR Esports. This is not looking good, McCormiel, because we were talking about this at the start. It was like, you do not want to begin your reverse sweep on Agavatu control.
2-0 lead now. The Coyotes in prime position to take this in a 3-0 series sweep. The biggest talking point, at least, going into this was the fact that if you are UCR, you at least have the ability to try and play for top 3. Of course, that would have had to come off the back of not only winning this series, but hoping that CSUN lost their match this week as well. Problem is, though, you're down 0-2, so one of those, and the most important factor of them all, is not looking like it's going to come to fruition. So you're, again, as Tiff alluded to, you're going to have to start the reverse sweep. You're going to have to make your way all the way back from down 2 games, going into a Gavutu control where statistically and historically, you haven't been great overall, specifically against teams that maybe aren't up to your stature in terms of what we would like to see overall in team composition. And that's just my way of saying teams that are worse than you, in a nice way, of course. But yeah, it's not looking great. We'll take a look at the statistics one more time. Edoy, you have to hit on it. 14-6 overall. Zamasu, 11-7. Both of those players not only instrumental in the way of being able to not only work through the map, but take that, but specifically in a game that goes to 11 rounds. You combine for 25 kills overall, which I believe is just about, and not if not more than what the side of UCR had in total.
Wow, that's actually really insane. I know when we were talking about Edoy, and I'm watching last week's, I'm talking 11-3 on Search and Destroy with 3 first bloods. You look at it this week, you've got 14-6 with a 5 first bloods. So Edoy, just incredibly consistent on the Search and Destroy, just really making the Coyotes feel at home in that Search and Destroy. I feel like that's your MVP. That's your golden ticket. Please do not lose Edoy, because the Search and Destroys are just way better with him on your team. And if you're a UCR, you needed to focus on cutting down Edoy or denying those first bloods, and it just didn't happen. So now we look at Gavutu control, which I haven't actually had the pleasure of casting over just yet. And I've been watching a lot of it, McCormiel. So what are some tickets to victory if we're going into a Gavutu control? Because I know we were chatting about it before this match started.
Well, I'll give you a golden nugget here. Take the B site, but we'll talk a little bit about Gavutu a bit more after a short break. When we come back, map number 3 and a potential for Coyotes to take a 3-0 series completion. Welcome back. The Coyotes trying to make it a 3-0 sweep over UCR Esports, who are trying to not only reverse sweep, but make their way inside of the top 3 to get out not only of stage 1, but to get into the top cut, in quotations, kind of what we had last year inside of the next division. My name is McCormiel. With me is Tiff. And Tiff, the thing is opposed to last year instead of the CCL where we just had a top and a bottom cut, this time we have basically a 4-way split between different pools. So for example, you have pool A, you have pool B, you have pool C, and you have pool D. The top 3, and then the next 3, the next 3, and the next 3, because there's basically 12 teams in every single pool. It's split up into 4s, think of it like that. So the 1st through 3rd teams from Division A, after stage 1 is completed, will then play the top 3 teams from each other division, B, C, and D. So, say, just for the sake of everything, if UCR and the Coyotes were 2 of the top 3 teams, they would then play the top 3 teams from Division A, C, and D since they're in Division B. It's split up the rest of the way all the way down, with 4th through 6th playing the other 4th through 6th teams, 7th through 9th playing the other 7th through 9th teams, and then 10th through 12th playing the other 10th through 12th teams the rest of the way. If you're wondering what that means for you for watching teams on streams, that means we're going to have banger matches for the rest of the season, because it's going to be the top teams playing the top teams every single week. And that makes for very, very entertaining and very good Call of Duty. Back to our match at hand, though, Tiff. I'm sorry to take away from that for so long. The Coyotes up 2-0 going into a Gavutu control. You asked me beforehand what I expect from Gavutu, and really the keys to success. It's take that B point, of course, if you can on offense, but more importantly, just win the life battle.
Win the life battle, indeed. And if you are UCR, this is where you want to start winning that life battle and beginning that reverse sweep. Because like you broke down at the beginning, McCormiel, you are wanting to get into that top 3 so you can battle it out against the top 3 for other divisions inside your pool. And this is where it's going to have to start, right here on this Gavutu control. And you have to come out swinging your defending start. That is a perfect way to begin this, because if you are that defending team on the first round here, you can net that win, because like you said, if you're attacking, that B side is going to be really hard to get if you're the Coyotes. So but look at this, already on A right now, looking to get that first tick. 1 minute, 15 seconds left. That life battle definitely even right off the beginning, but if you're the Coyotes, you were trying to pop off and you want to kill as many UCR players as much as you possibly can.
Back down in towards it. Zamazu's going to be able to find one, tries to find the second around the corner. A good 3-1 trade. The Coyotes gonna have to regroup back and towards their spawn. But actually, did the side of UCR even realize that somebody's over towards B, starting to go ahead and run up that B zone? You're gonna get the first tick of progress over towards the B site. Finally, someone's going to be able to turn up the map. Everybody's gonna start redirecting their attention back over towards B, but 2 players are gonna be there now. Flying Hat, Speedy Smacks around the right side. Edoy, he was huge inside of the search and destroy. Finally will fall, but you're gonna get that second bit of progress over at B. So it was looking so great at the very beginning. If you are the side of UCR, now turns completely around. Finally, you'll get it off B, but unfortunately, the damage has already been done. Now they're going to be able to go ahead and secure the A zone, add an extra minute on the clock with a 3 life advantage in 2 minutes and 11 seconds. 1 tick of progress does not seem like a lot whatsoever, even if it is over towards that B site.
This Gavutu control just turned a complete 180 upside down within literally 2 seconds. It's like as if McCormiel was coaching the Coyotes in this, because if you looked away for a split second, you didn't see the one player getting all of the ticks on B, and as you can see, they're already 2 ticks down. They just need that 1 tick. Lives are definitely in their favor because they're basically even on either side as Zamazu pops off completely, but it doesn't matter. They have 17 lives, a minute 39 to get 1 more tick on B right now, and as you can see, the contention is happening where the spawns are in the UCR's favor. It doesn't matter, because basically what Coyotes are going to do, they're going to wait. You've got Zamasu that's already over there looking for some fights, but can Edoy get over there to back them up? But look at player number 2. Unknown is just kind of coming up from behind. The flank is happening, and it is real. And if they can flank out the UCR players, they only need 1 tick.
Speedy, though, by the flat gun, going to be able to cut down a few players. 13-12, a minute and 10 off. So you've wasted a minute if you are UCR. And again, this is kind of where the defensive side gets extremely difficult, or rather the offensive side gets extremely difficult, because when you're on defense, you can just play close to the point, just play your lives, pop a couple lives off the board, and make your way back up. Either way, though, Edoy going to be on the site now. 2 players now trying to make their way. They finally clear out their own spawn. You've got to get onto the point, though, because it's about to be captured in its entirety. You slide around the corner. The contest finally comes in at the very last possible moment. Still a full minute to work back over towards the site, but Danny's going to be the first one there. Gunfight over the top. Nade to follow on suit. UCR holds down on defense for now, but as 2 players get traded out, it's still 8-5. 1 respawn remaining for UCR.
That was a really good pinch between a Flying Hat and Speedy as they came in to get the Coyotes there off B site. But you're right, 3 lives left. This is going to be it. Basically, 2 lives remaining after this one. But here's the deal. You won't come back. A Flying Hat, Beaver, Speedy, you've got to take them down. You have to hold your ground right now, because here comes the final push from the Coyotes. But look at Speedy as he finds Zamazu. Now no respawns available for the Coyotes as well. What is going to happen here, McCormiel? This is the final stand. 20 seconds left on the clock.
5 in a row. You're looking for streaks, but at the same time, you're looking for this defensive round. Unknown to the middle of the map. 12 seconds left. UCR has done such a great job of holding the side of the Coyotes out of the hill, but now from behind, Edoy is going to be able to find the first. You're just looking from the front. You look for the shots on the second. The rest of the teammates have to come through. 1 versus 3 won't be able to get it done. You don't get the win in virtue of getting that B zone completed. You get the kills either way. A phenomenal offensive round, almost though turned awry by a great defensive stand over on that site. It took them to the last 10 seconds to be able to make that final push. Either way, Tiff, that's a great start there, not only from the Coyotes, but for UCR. That was really your moment to make that first stand inside of the Gavutu control. Now you're going to be having to fight from the back foot through the rest of the map. And again, in a situation where you need a reverse sweep.
But this is not where you want to start the reverse sweep. You not want to start it on an attacking round, especially when the Coyotes just absolutely overpowered you in form of life right there. And it even came down to the last 9 seconds. But I think the key defining moment is when you mentioned it right there, that Coyotes went over and started ticking on B. Had they not done that, I don't know, man. Like, it just would have been such a different game right there. So here's the deal. Well, we know A is easy to cap right here, as UCR is already working on their second tick. And the Coyotes down 5 lives already.
I'm gonna say that's one hell of an opening break there if you are UCR. Highlanders have made their way back in towards the point. You got in 2 ticks of progress. However, the Coyotes will bounce right back. A 3-1 trade. Blue kill feed had lit up for the time. Sorry, though, we'll go ahead and pop for 2 and is already back in towards the point. Speedy Smacks and the rest of the squad now back over towards A. Allowed them enough time in the reinforcements to come through. So, although Sorry's at 9 and 10 right now, he makes the necessary plays to allow the team to get on back. Yet an extra minute onto the clock. However, it's once again the blue kill feed that comes right back on through. So what was a virtuous start for UCR now turns into a situation where spawn traps can start commencing. Danny around the corner. You go back and forth for a few trades, but you can't let Danny start running through your spawn all rampant and such, because that's going to spell trouble not only as you start to move forward, but of course you're going to have to waste time starting to think about, hey, is Danny still behind me?
Is Danny still behind me? That is the very good question. And if you are Beaver, Danny is there and Danny is taking you down. If you are UCR, you need to do a really good job of getting to that B site, but you can't do that because when you talk about the Coyotes, we already know they're aggressive. And as you can see, they had pushed back so far into the UCR spawn that they were just taking down their lives. And while they're almost even right now, and Speedy's got a really great position here up on the ship, and they're striving to make that rotation over towards B, you're losing too much time and too many lives, because if you only have 16 lives remaining if you're attacking right now to go and take that B, and spawns just aren't on your favor and the reinforcements can come in from the Coyotes, there's kind of that nice little standoff right now. But look who's already going around. It's Unknown coming up from behind.
Black gun. First player gonna fall. That's the first domino. Second one into the hands. Back up towards the top of the flak gun. Just looking for that final player. Speedy. I thought maybe for a second Unknown pops up and is able to rip the head off. If you're Edoy, though, you got a beautiful kill on towards the beach. A great sight line. Of course, looking out towards the horizon. Can't get much more beautiful than that. Zamazu make their way up the staircase. You look out towards the beach. You spot another player there. At least Flying Hat is going to be out there, but again, 25 seconds left, 3 lives separating these two teams. You wasted all the time in the world. The Coyotes, once again, on the fringes of having a 2-0 lead here in the control. Late in the game, the final push here. It's not looking good for UCR.
This final push isn't even like, okay, look, I'm gonna be this is gonna be really blunt, McCormick. I just don't feel like the pushes are actually happening. We see the kill feed being completely blue in the Coyotes, and the live difference, UCR only has 5. There's no time remaining. There's nothing they can do. They are just being completely outnumbered. You've got Coyotes that are incredibly aggressive, and you've got UCR that's playing a lot more reserved. It's like they didn't even get a chance to really go for that B side, and this is what we were talking about in the Gavutu control, is you have to be able to get over there. We saw the aggression pay off in the form of Coyotes when they were attacking. They already had been so aggressive that they had 2 ticks on B before they had even taken A. So they had plenty of lives. Time was on their side, and they just fragged UCR. But if you're UCR and you're playing a lot more reserved, what are you going to do? Like, you can't even get to B. There was at least 30 seconds of time on that clock where they were just standing there mid-map, each of them just staring at each other.
It doesn't realize that there's a player in Sorry directly to the right. You're trying to make that route all the way back over towards the B site again, and that's exactly what you've done. If you don't alert them just yet, you'll finally get on that B zone. I don't think anybody actually realizes that anybody's at B. They haven't even turned around to watch their flank yet. They're still worried about the front of the ship, but at the same time, they are at least getting the spawn trap in. So you're getting kills for this, even though you don't necessarily know where Edoy is. You think you're spawning close up towards the point because you're getting the spawn trap. but you got to be able to read the kill feed here and say, hey, we haven't killed this player in quite some time. We might want to check our bases. Finally back on over towards B. Yet again, you clear out the spawn, you get 2 kills. They're going to be closer back over towards B, but this is almost a mirror play of what we saw the last time. You're splitting the defense now, and of course, you're being able to tick and get every bit of progress that you can at A and towards B. You get that first bit of progress. Sure, it's not 2 ticks. You're down by 2 lives, but the biggest thing is now you're working over towards A, and finally, you're able to demonstrate yourselves along the map.
The fact that you were able to secure a tick on A and a tick on B before the fact is you can get a tick on B before they even realize that you're up there. It's just like, it's like they're not even in the same match. I don't understand how Idoy can just fly around the map doing whatever he wants to do. You see it right now. Idoy is playing the entire top side of the map as he's working his way over to B. A is secured right now, 2 minutes on the clock, equal on lives, but the Coyotes are looking to net this dub right here. They are literally 1 round away for securing this map. And then the series, 3-0. What can you do if you're UCR? This is where you have to shut it down. You have 21 lives remaining. You have to cut the Coyotes down. And if you're looking for Edoy, you got to start there. Edoy is just an absolute demon. Between Danny and Edoy, the Coyotes are just frying out. So I just feel like now, it's now or never. And here's that standoff that just keeps happening with the Coyotes. I love what they're doing, though. They're kind of waiting for the teammates to catch up and kind of take that coordinated approach. But if you're sorry and if you're speedy, you need to cut them down and win those mid-map rotations. And as you see there, Danny takes down Speedy, and it's just, I mean, you still have a minute left, so there's plenty of time to work, but Coyotes are just looking for the lives now.
I was going to say, yeah, there's plenty of time left, but at the same time, I mean, maybe that's 1 or 2 really good pushes, especially if you're trying to play through the middle of the map. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, but more importantly, it can take a lot of lives off the board if you're really trying to make that dedicated push directly through the middle to try and influence the spawns to the best of your ability. 16-13, 3 lives separate the 2 teams, 45 seconds left. The Coyotes, you have a nice little bit of buffer. You go back to a defensive round, even if you aren't able to win the offensive side here, all the way out and towards the beach. You at least know where Zamasu is, so that's 1 player out of the 4. The Coyotes still trying to make their push up the map, but with 30 seconds left, there's really not much to be found, at least in the way of kills right now. Danny unknown, they're going to be the first ones up on the point. Finally, they'll get on. They'll stop the clock for a bit of time, but it's just going to be the respawns and another dedicated push here, and they don't realize that player number 5 and sorry could be on the flank soon.
Yeah, I think the issue is they had already had 2 ticks before they had begun their B push on that first attacking round where they net that victory. And they had came down to 9 seconds on the clock, and they only won it by just outgunning UCR. So it's like, okay, maybe you can't cap it, outgun them, but it's 9 lives remaining for each team, 28 seconds on the clock, and they are all up there. Look at the contention on the mid-map. I just don't know if it's going to happen, McCormiel.
Edoy from behind, flying hat, sorry, Speedy smacks, 3-2 trade, 7-6 overall. Speedy, finally, we'll get the final kill there. It's not over just yet, 20 seconds left, plenty of time to push up the map. 2 ticks of progress, you just got to get on the hill in order to stop the clock. 1 respawn remaining for the side of the Coyotes. UCR, the Highlanders, trying to hold on here inside of the control. They'll get the first of a couple down. Beaver will find the second, and it's 2 players that are going to have to go absolutely massive here. And with 1 second left, you're not going to be able to get onto the point. You don't want to feed potential streaks to UCR, so you'll stay alive another round in the control. However, you'll go back to another offensive round where the last time it didn't look too peachy. I don't fancy their chances here in another round, but we'll just have to wait and see. I don't play the negative card just yet, but it hasn't been a great control.
Don't play the negative card just yet. Look, that could have went so many different ways. You can see that UCR made the changes that they needed to make on that defensive round against Coyote. Can they, mirror it and take that momentum into the attacking? It's really hard to say, but they did cut the Coyotes down on that last push. They did everything that they needed to do. They won the 1v1s there on the rotation, so that full push couldn't even come in. But here's the deal. We've got Idoy going all the way on the top side of the map, looking to get behind them. It's like Idoy is just living on this map, just rent-free, able to do whatever he wants. And if you're UCR, how are you going to combat that? It's like you don't check behind. And look, it's happening again.
It's the 4th time, in the 4th round, rather, I should say, that Edoy has been behind your entire roster. You'd think after a certain point that you'd start to turn around, maybe check behind you, but maybe that's a testament to what we saw in the Search and Destroy. There weren't many adjustments from either of these 2 teams, and realistically here on Gavutu, they've been making the exact same plays every single round, switching up very, very, very subtly every single time. So Azamasu will rotate towards the bottom of the map. You've got the first bit of progress over towards the ace site. If you are UCR, finally you'll clear out 1 all the way in the back and unknown. But still, I mean, if you're speedy, you're just trying to chase players right now. You're not helping out the rest of your team. And while this is happening, time is dwindling off the clock. and you're allowing the respawns to get back over towards B, even if you're trying to play towards the zone.
Yeah, it's like the push is trying to come in as the Coyotes are looking to get back on the defensive and break UCR off A. As A, they've just got 2 ticks down, so 1 tick left. But let's look at the lives, right? Can they? Speedy absolutely doing amazing right now, getting on a 5-kill streak. No streaks just yet, but that would be really influential right now if you wanted to clear off a zone to get some uncontested time. But when you look at B, they don't have any ticks made. The Coyotes in this same place would have already had 1 or 2 ticks down on B. As A is now capped, you got an extra minute of time. The lives are still pretty even, but is 17 lives enough to defend? Is that 19 enough to attack? I don't think so. You're right, 3 coordinated pushes, and we know how aggressive the Coyotes are because look at it. Look at Unknown. It's not Edoy this time who's literally rotating around. It's absolutely insane. Like, how do you combat that? Look behind you. You've got Edoy, you've got Unknown just lurking behind you like a shark in the water going up to B.
You've got to commit to this fast, though, if you are Unknown, because the biggest problem overall is the fact that you were sitting in the back of the spawn of the offensive side, but you weren't getting any kills for it, so you're allowing your team to get peppered up inside of their own spawn. Everybody made their push up, and now you're going to get that first bit of progress at B if you are UCR. However, kill feed still going to be all blue. You don't realize that the player is inside of that B site until just now. You're going to be able to work them out. Sorry on the ship, but that was a huge swing of kills for the Coyotes because that brings you back within 2 lives overall. 45 seconds left in the round. UCR, you've got about 2 good pushes at this hill, at least in a calculated sense.
I hear the streaks coming in. Speedy was able to grab a glide bomb. We'll pull it down, but look where UCR has pushed. They have pushed all the way around on the south side of the map, and they're coming up from behind on B and finding kills midway around, but you've got to make sure that you are taking these. Kills are tied up, 25 seconds left, so you're going to have to jump on that B progression, but Zamazu is up there in the top, and the Coyotes are taking all the right kills that you need. McCormill, UCR's doesn't have much time as they're coming in. They just spawned in 14 seconds to move across the map towards B. Can they take the Coyotes down?
Speedy out towards the beach. That would have been a huge gunfight to win against Zamasu. Danny there for 1. Make it the second around the corner. Just dipping and diving around the cover. Making sure you stay alive. The last player trying to contest for time. Unknown, yet another big kill. The time will run thin. The Coyotes, despite a great resurgence there from UCR, will take a 3-1 win inside of the control, which means they'll bring the broomsticks out and sweep UCR to the side. A technical rivalry between these 2 schools. They'll take the advantage there going into stage 2.
The aggression of the Coyotes is just absolutely unmatched. If you are UCR, you know you wanted to win that and nestle yourself up into the top 3. And, you know, that was a really great showing out for the Coyotes. The fact is, them winning that first attacking round on control just kind of put it into motion, right? And I think if they weren't so aggressive, it might not have panned out as well for them. But I mean, we saw it in Hardpoint, we saw it in Search and Destroy, and then we see it in Control. And that's the one word. I wrote it down, aggressive. And they played exactly just like that. And hey, they took the series. Moving into stage 2, it's going to get a little wild. Maybe that aggression is going to carry on for the Coyotes.
You'd absolutely hope so. And again, it just kind of goes back to what we were talking about through the entirety, not only of the Search and Destroy, but into the Control as well. There were so many times where players were moving into a flank position. Neither team was really checking it until the Coyotes in that defensive round where they needed to get a few lives swung in their favor, finally were able to clear out their spawns, and that actually allowed for Unknown, who was playing the flanks all the way in the opponent's spawn on the offensive side, finally was able to get some, at least a little bit of credit because, you know, kills started popping up in the kill feed. If you're not getting kills and you're putting yourself out of position across the map, all you're doing is allowing the offensive team to spawn a little bit closer to the hill and then putting your teammates in constant 4 versus 3 situations. Once you get those kills finally, then you can move back up the map and then really start to get that spawn trap for the opposition. We saw that, but it wasn't until very late inside that final defensive round for the Coyotes where that came into fruition. Either way, though, UCR, you got to start checking behind you. You got to start counting the kill feed. You got to say, hey, who haven't we killed in a while? Where could they potentially be? Flush that out and then be able to push up the map once again. Check your lanes, cover your angles, cover the different areas of the map, and you will be able to win maps. You'll be able to win modes. More importantly, you might be able to win the series against the San Bernardino roster the next time you go up against them, which I don't know if it will happen or if it is going to happen whatsoever. But either way, with that UCR loss, though, Tiff, that is going to, at least for now, secure them in the 4th through 6th spot overall inside of their division. They won't be able to make top 3. However, they're going to be just below that with teams who are very comparable to them. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch them play inside of stage 2.
A lot of fun to watch indeed, and I'm excited to see what unfolds for them in the stage 2. And I hope you brought up so many good points, and I really hope that UCR is gonna check into this. Maybe they're gonna listen, do some VOD reviews, check behind their corners, because I don't know. Look, I get a sense when someone's watching me, right? Like it should be that unwritten rule. It's like, I kind of feel like someone's watching me, and half the time it's my dog, right? Well, half the time for this team, it's the Coyotes. It's gonna be Unknown and Idoi. So just make sure that when you go into stage 2, you're right. Take into those notes that McCormiel just laid out for you, because I think those are very valid points. And if you want to be really successful, I mean, but look, let's be real. You're already in that 4 to 6 section right there. So that has to say something. That's actually really good, because you are in the top half of your division. So that's the way to do it. You want to start there and just continue on. Be strong, play smart, play together, but check your corners, check behind you.
Words to live by there from Tiff, but overall, this is day 1 of week 6 of the CCL, so overall, at least right now, again, let's talk of the next couple of weeks upcoming. Of course, stage 2 will be starting very, very soon. Next week, a lot of the matches are going to be big for a lot of teams that are going to be playing inside of them, but that's going to do it for this match. A 3-0 for the Coyotes over UCR Esports. On the Alpha stream right now, the Oregon Ducks are going up against UNM Esports in a match for their own division, and of course, bragging rights to go along with that. We're not done here on Bravo, though, but while we take a break, go ahead and check them out. We'll be up back in just a second, where CU Boulder goes up against Crimson Gaming in a battle for West Division A.